connectivity is very important because there's a lot of border trade, businesses, and security.
When President Joseph Boakai there speaking, talked about border trade and security. What do you make of that?
Well, I think, that summit, Africa Summit, Business Summit, is part of the American government's own effort to get African countries on board, because what's happening now is the East-West rivalry, where China and Russia are trying to make some inroads. So naturally, you find the West trying to ensure that they get Africa or the bulk of Africa on the side. To the issue of President Boakai, yes, he needs to do everything possible to attract American investment to this country. As he even met the MCC, Millennium Challenge Corporation officials during the breakfast meeting, he tried to convince them that it's time to give us another chance of the MCC. But while making those efforts, I think especially the government communication people should try not to create the feeling that President Boakai is there with a bull, begging bull. The MCC, for example, have what they call the scorecards with a number of conditions to meet before you can benefit from the MCC support. We benefited in the last few years, and that 5-year program ended, and the government needs to desperately, on the ground, make concrete efforts to ensure that they meet up with the conditions or preconditions for the MCC scorecard. For example, one of the things is the fight against corruption, the issue of women welfare, gender, and I can't say all the scorecard requirement, but most of it has to do with maintaining or ensuring there's good governance in place, audit institutions are supported sufficiently, the anti-corruption groups, and what have you. Just a few days ago, we heard the chairman of the commissioners of LACC complaining about money needed to support, and even the IAA and others. So while making the fine statements there in the States, of course, he and his team back home must be able to work on those things that will make Liberia cross the threshold to benefit from such support, including the MCC.
Now, speaking of, the fight against corruption, of course, there's a need for the government to provide support to those institutions such as the auditing organizations or sector, so that you can, clean up. An audit, by the way, is not to catch somebody; it's to make sure that people are doing the right thing. But then, you stress on that, and these are some of the things that I think the president has emphasized. That auditing,
yes, it's so good that the president has emphasized. Take for example the retrieval assets retrieval program. Yes, those are good programs, but they must be followed through. If people are alleged to be involved in stealing government properties and money, going down the line, we must see some concrete efforts to actually get those government properties and assets, both locally and internationally. So yes, it's a good start, but they must be followed through.
So let's take a listen again. The president at the summit talked about trade, and this is one key issue. Of course, we need some investment and so on. Let's take a listen.
I think that our communities are very small, and with good road network, with programs on each side so that we can improve our trade. The more we do that, the more secure we are, and the better we can begin to expand our trade and relationship across the borders. I think the role and communication very important to be able to improve the relationship in our region.
Okay, so you heard that he wants to create the trade between our neighbors so that we can improve our region. What do you think? What do you make of it?
Yes, I think that is so important. Intra-Africa trade, you know, the potential for that, studies have shown, is very high, and if we can maximize that, it will do well. Like, I think one area besides the extractive industry that the president may be pushing there is to attract people to Liberia's ecotourism potential. You know, we have huge ecotourism potential, but unfortunately, we have not been able to make money from our ecotourism potential. And Americans go around, tourists around the world, millions of them every year. And one place to begin is the Providence Island, for example, right here in the seat of government. There's nothing really good about that place to attract people in terms of the way it's been handled. One way to handle it is to to dredge, for example, the Nasarado River, which is around that island,
and it's really
a dump site,
and it's really filthy.
Yes, I'm giving you this example because there are ecotourism and historic sites across West Africa, which I've been personally. For example, Cape Coast, similar to the Providence Island, where slaves were sent to the west. Gorée Island in Senegal. Those people make millions and millions of dollars every year. Anyone entering Senegal or Ghana for the first time will be encouraged will be encouraged to go to those two sites. I went to Cape Coast, and when I was returning, I felt so bad about the huge ecotourism potential we have. Like, there's a place along the road to Accra called Cocoon National Park. Can you imagine, Hassan? I paid $10 to enter. And to do what? To walk on the canopy walkway. They put huge cables through the canopy of trees. You know, it's a forested area for about 15 minutes with a metal platform to walk there. At the end of the day, we came back down and $10 was gone. And those people make huge amounts of money from that. Similar to the monkey bridge, we used to call it in Atimbaku. So one of the areas besides the extractive industries is our tourism potential. And maybe one is agriculture. Yeah. You know, America has a huge strength in agriculture. They plant rice, they plant wheat, they plant all sorts of crops.
Oh yeah,
so
vegetables.
Can we be able to attract American investors? People who will come to this country and invest in food production. And you know, the president has always said that mechanized farming is the way to go.
Of course, because
you feed ourselves and even export. We have the soil, we have the weather in our favor, even though climate change is taking its toll. But generally, we have one of the largest, if not the largest, reserve of tropical rainforests in West Africa. So we have the land, we have the water, we have everything to make us strong in agriculture. So those two key areas are something to look at.
Well, perhaps we need to be looking towards Grand Cape Mount County, say, for instance, in Robertsport. I just spoke with the superintendent today. Of course, there are great prospects for tourism in that area. You know, In fact, a surfing competition, people are coming from all walks of Liberia. They're already there. They are doing a surfing competition. And so that's another tourist attraction.
Yeah, but it needs to be harnessed and investment needs to be made in it. Take, for example, the Mesurado River I'm talking about, leading back there to West Point and other places.
Yeah, and Slipway.
You can get people, any tourists, to even pay a US dollar to go there because the place is filthy. And so I think we should begin from that front. Clean up the mess, make tourism sites attractive so that we can begin to make money. And also, one of the things we need to do as we attract tourism is to improve our service industry. We have one of the poorest in the sub-region. You know, that is important.
Yeah, I understand that, it's customer service. In fact, if people say we have customer no service here in Liberia. So let's take another aspect the president was trying to was that building stronger neighboring relationship amongst or with neighbors such as Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Ivory Coast, and even maybe the sub-region. Let's take a listen.
Liberia has a border with Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, Guinea. We have citizens living in both areas, and so there's a lot of business and family relationship.
And so you heard him say, with our neighbors, we have a lot of family relationship. In fact, the borders are porous, and you find various tribes from both sides of the divide. Say, for instance, you have Kran in Liberia, you have Kran in Ivory Coast, you have Guiomano on the other end, you have Guiomano on the side. You have Mende and Vai in Sierra Leone, you have them in Liberia, you have Bandi here. I mean, just all over the place. So strengthening the relationships amongst these West African Mano River Union countries.
Yeah, which is very important, what they call a soft relationship. We have to do that because those at our back doors become frontline people. Let's say, for example, in trade, what is the strength of the Mano River, each Mano River Union country? What they produce more, what they produce less. If we can consolidate trade in the sub-region, beginning with the Mano River Union, extending to ECOWAS, and then beyond in East, West, Southern Africa, that would be good because already the US and the big powers, China, are competing for other interests. So we can do that while attracting other bigger investment to spur the economy.
Well, another area the president has also been keen on is the area of communication, and he stressed that very well as we listen to this clip.
Without good road network and connectivity, the borders, especially in the trouble region like we have now, it is very important to have good communication, good road network, and to improve relationship on both sides of the border. And so our need now is to build our road network, to be able to improve our communication system, and to be able to build relationship within the sub-region.
Okay, so this one, I think he wrapped up everything in one: building the roads, communicating, that improving communication, trade, and border relationship, or so on. So the president has summed everything up in this piece of clip.
Yes, I think America has one of the biggest communication infrastructure. They have the big tech companies, the largest there. Perhaps we're talking about internet and mobile phone penetration. Who are they talking with? The particular related sectoral officials. to bring some of those companies here to help strengthen our internet and our mobile system in the country. And then the other thing has to do with, for example, mining. What are the potentials for mining? American companies, are they prepared to come and explore? Because, you know, we may have more natural resources, precious stones than we know, but one of the problems has been we don't have the human resources, and our Ministry of Lands and Mines and Energy needs to be also upgraded in order to bring experts to help us search, do feasibility studies about the level of reserve we have, and maybe new minerals that we may have sitting in our soil.
Okay, Frank. So let's leave it at that for this for the Africa Summit. Let's see if we can open the phone lines and interact with the public to get their reaction or to gauge their mood on the president's visit to the United States so far this week. So call us on call on 0777 627 723. Call us on 0777 627 723. That's our line, and tell us exactly what do you make of the president's visit so far and some of the things the president is saying regarding regarding our plans to improve the livelihood of Liberians. 0777 627 723. Well, we have a caller on the line. Good morning to you. Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from, sir.
I'm Patrick Julian, calling from District Number 7.
Okay, Patrick, what's on your mind?
Yes, I first want to congratulate you guys in the media for always as a president on the day-to-day happenings in the country and the world at large. And I also want to commend His Excellency President Boakai for being so far-sighted, wanting to see the best come out of Liberia. And one thing I pray that our partners, our international partners, and all of those who are on board this vessel will be able to work together so that the best will come out of Liberia and Liberia will come back on track. Because for so long a time now, we have not, had good opportunities being afforded us in this country because of what? Corruption. So I pray and hope that the whole man put the sleep down and Liberians join so that we can fight corruption. I was listening to the radio this morning. One big top minister in Nigeria was being convicted by the court. He was being charged for corruption. If we can stand against corruption in this country, our country will move forward.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's take this other call. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, good morning. Edward Shannon, and I call from Central Virginia Back Settlement.
Okay, Shannon, what's on your mind? What do you make of the president's visit and some of the issues he's putting forth to create better living for us?
Well, I'm very, very much impressed that the president will leave and go, and he's fighting. That means he's doing his best to see how he brings companies, to see investors in our country, so that Liberia can make a change, so that we can become part of the history of Liberia being a old country and not making any progress. So I'm very, very much impressed. I know the youth are very happy. The president being away for me is not about what party, it's about Liberia. And so I'm very much impressed. And secondly, I just hope, because if even all the investors come to this country, and our leaders do not take the appropriate action to make these investors or these companies that will come to our country to do exactly what they're supposed to do, it will just be a waste of water, like a water on a dog's back.
So what would you what would you love to see them do when they come to Liberia to do business?
Well, what I really want them to do is when they come to Liberia, our leaders will just have to be very, very much proactive and do very MOU. They will sign with them to make sure that they do it. Because my brother, the investors come into your country. They come to find money they themselves. Though when they come, our people benefit because government alone cannot absorb everybody. Job will be available. People will get their salary on time, and you will see most of the noise will call up because when people are busy, when you got bulk of the people busy working, some of these problems that go on in the country, the armed robbery and all the protests and what have you, people using people for little cash, they will stop because when the man is independent, he knows exactly what he does.
Okay.
He go after the right thing. So I would just hope. And before I drop the line, please, brother, I hope when President Boakai come back, the companies that are not doing well, it shouldn't just be a talk. When he comes wanting to take action, if they're not doing the right thing, let he have them booted out of this country and the right people come to help us.
Wow,
Thank you.
strong words there, booted out of Liberia. And that's so we'd like to take a few more calls on this topic. President Joseph Boakai's visit to the U.S. Is he pushing forward so far? What is he propounding? What is he proffering to to our partners and in the U.S. or even friendly governments that he's meeting? Give us a call on 0777-627-723. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm afraid. Good morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Harrington. We are coming from Lookington.
Okay. Now.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank your guest for X-raying the speech of the president.
Yeah.
I also want to thank the president for in terms of the road infrastructure, because they say first see the king of God, all other things will be around to you. Road is a network, because you have good road network, you have good trade. In fact, we talk about tourists in the other area, the Batawi, other places, the Grand Cape, all of these areas, they are good. But we need good road where in terms of road infrastructure. I also want to appeal to France the world this morning. The issue that you have with the late Bishop Francis, issue with the bishop.
Yeah, so you know, we might find time for that topic next time. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you very much. This is Dr. Blair and I call from ELBC.
Okay, Zach, let's hear you.
Thank you for the discussion. I think the president is doing well, but like your partner, the person who is you are communicating with, he said everything right. You see, I don't know where have we gone so wrong as Liberians and we are forgetting everything. I'm constrained to call, which I don't normally do. There's a situation that I saw yesterday in Waterside tells me that we have a very long way to go as a people. Even if the president should go any part of the world and advocate and lobby and bring investment and bring whatever. You see, there's so many people who don't know. For someone that travel to countries, they look at the people who are there before they try to shower respect on them. If you went to Waterside now, as I speak to you, you will walk a distance of about 10 minutes and you will never leave your nose. You can't breathe. Feces are literally everywhere. Tell me why the investor will come in the kind of environment and take the citizens seriously. So what I'm saying, countries like Ghana, like Rwanda, and other places that we are going to embrace them, the citizens themselves take the mantle of seriousness and civilization. That's my point.
Well, the managing director Mo Ali was here a few days ago, and of course he said that they haven't, for the past out of several years, not one of those manholes or those septic tanks have been drained to take the feces out. So he's calling on the marketers to give a day, at least one of a market day of maybe on a Friday, on a Thursday or so, to allow the people to drain that, because there are feces right on Water Street. Thank you so much for that. Let's take our last caller here. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay. I'm Mr. Alexander Bien, and I'm calling from Balance Bekeba.
Okay. You're our last caller on this topic.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to appreciate ELBC for the great job well done that people are able to electing our mind on current events and that of the president's visit to the U.S. Africa Business Summit. And also, I want to say thank you to your guests. And hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay, so the point I would like to stress, I was very happy when I heard the president talking about how he was able to talk about Bombing Hills, how investors came there and how they depleted our resources and they left nothing there. He made mention of Pond Mines, Yekepa, and other places. And he also told his audience that this time around, he would like for the investors to come, and when they take away our resources, they should be able to leave something so that the common people can be able to see, so that we can be able to see. And that really uplifted my ego, and I expect new Liberia. So what I would like to recommend to President Boakai and the government in totality is that all of the concession agreement that have been signed previously, they should be able to revisit those concession agreements and to see where they need to carry on the necessary adjustment. And that would be all right for our country.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your contribution. Of course, Chief Cyril Allen, the chairman emeritus of the NPP, alluded to that yesterday. And of course, you heard that in our ELBC newscast. Let's give you a bar of music, and then when we come back, we go to the next topic here on the Super Money Show.
This no working, una no columbia, mina no need to sign, una no yano yole, mina no full yole, una no columbia, mandi kako yo, dedana, yena, dedana, hey! Come on. This time in the money. Yeah. Cuba. Kapai. Sekarang teman makin nak. Jom jalan depan ni. Mak juga pun panas dia macam. Mungkin siapa mungkin. Baik. Dia sanjung nanya ni.
And that is Maurice Dolly there on the Super Morning Show this Friday morning here on ELBC Radio. The time is 8:39. That is 21 minutes to the top of the hour, or 9 o'clock if you want to say it that way. Well, of course, many of you have been hearing in the news some time ago the Motorcyclists Union and the police struck a deal so that come next Wednesday, they will be applying on access road, but not on the main road. But then yesterday, there's a twist of turn. Some adjustments were made. So now we have the police spokesperson, Cecilia Clark, on the line to tell us exactly what are some of the new. But set the scene first, Cecilia. What was the original plan?
Thank you, Hassan, and good morning to everyone listening. Yesterday, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Jeremiah K. Cole, had a very, very fruitful meeting with heads of the Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Unions at his Capitol Building office with the IG of the Liberia National Police.
You mean the Inspector General?
The Inspector General, Honorable Gregory O.W. Kuhlman, and to intervene in the restriction that is placed on as to be enforced on May 15, 2024 on the motorcycles.
So the restrictions were they completely lifted, or what were some of the adjustments in those restrictions? Because in next week Wednesday, which would be the 15th, that was when they are going to withdraw to the access road and not apply on the main roads.
Yeah, so the restriction will be enforced on next Wednesday, May 15th, but with conditions.
And what are the conditions?
Yeah, here are the conditions. That the no-go zone, like I said, will be enforced, but from ELBC Junction to Freeport for now. From ELBC Junction to Freeport, any motorcyclist should apply that route should be in compliance with the following. They should have their motorbike register, insured, register with Transport Ministry and insured. And then they should have 2 helmets. 50 helmets should be one, but one for the back rider and one for the core rider, in which we call those who call the passengers. The
Yeah.
passenger. So you are only to carry one passenger. If you're wishing to plan a route from ELBC Junction to Freeport, you got to be registered, you got to be insured, and you should have two emails. One is to be one by you, the bag rider, and one by the co-rider, which you call the passenger. And you should have your reflective jacket. You should have your reflective jacket on, and you should wear safety shoes. Boots or sneakers, no slippers, and you should have your two legs. As far you notice that most of the bag they take up the view mirrors. You should have your pair of view mirrors on. So you'll be planning the route. If you wish to plan the route between ELBC Junction to Freeport, you should be in compliance. And last but not the least, which is important, is also constitutional. It's in the vehicle and traffic law. You must be 18 and above, 18 or above, to ride a bike or to operate a motor vehicle.
So
that restriction is for 3 months. It's for 3 months, and only for those that will be plying the route from ELBC Junction to Freeport. The rest of the country or the rest of the streets, you can use it. There's 3 months grace period. This is done to give you the grace period to regularize your status. And those are riding, maybe for example, from even an LBS here to Red Light or Fingers Village, GSA Road, from Red Light to Freeport, from Freeport to Douala, and all of that. They are not covered within the restriction for now. They are giving 3 months to regularize the status, and after 3 months, the restriction will go across the country.
I'm trying to make sense of what you've said regarding the relaxed or whatnot, the relaxed amendment to the previous rules that was set. They have to be registered, insured, have 2 helmets, reflective jackets, side view mirrors, no slippers, and that's from ELBC Junction to Freeport. What about, are there any restrictions from ELBC through Topman Boulevard to town?
That's it for ELBC. That's the route from there all the way to town and going Freeport.
Okay.
That's the route. That's the route I'm talking about. From ELBC Junction, please say to Monrovia town to Freeport. Yeah, Freeport. That's the route.
So what about Douala to Monrovia, and then
after 3 months. Go from Douala to Monrovia. You don't have to come to Monrovia. Douala, the restriction is it doesn't. If you want to come from Douala there, then of course, like I said, because you know the bad rather they don't live at a specific area.
Yeah.
So the idea is that if you want to plan the route from Freeport to Monrovia, from Freeport to ELBC Junction, you should be in compliance with the following.
But my confusion is, and making sense of this also, is that if we say coming into Monrovia, you should be registered, insured, have helmets, reflective jackets, your view mirrors should be okay, no slippers. The same conditions that apply using those routes, I think the same conditions you apply all over, because you are still meeting vehicles, you are still meeting other people, and I mean, they have accidents, anything could happen anywhere, regardless of where.
Yeah, basically that is done to give enough grace period so that they can regularize their status.
So how did the motorcyclists react to it? Because we've been calling the head of the motorcyclists, and his phone has been very busy. I hope he can call us on 0777-627-723 to interact with him, to hear him, to hear from him what he made of the new adjustments, and whether his folks are going to abide by them. But let me
speak to that.
Okay.
You would note that it would interest you to know that those restrictions were recommendations from the agreed motorcyclists. They heard about Mr. Harris Colley. The board were also represented.
Oh, so I mean, if they can agree, but I'm sure
that was the recommendation put forth, and the vice president in the wisdom try to give them, to appeal, and he was settled, an appeal from senior officer, like the vice president, cannot be, overlooked or cannot just be not taken into consideration.
Of course.
Based upon that, everyone was settled. But that recommendation, let it be noted, that appeal, it was a recommendation from the aggrieved party. Because they had two groups. The ones that said they were going by the restriction, and those that said they were going to protest, and they were going to resist the restriction. So, interestingly, those recommendations came from them.
So are we sure?
So it was met with jubilation after the meeting came down at the front of the vice president office, and a press conference was held there, and then we subsequently moved to the SKD sports complex, those sports complex, where the motorcyclists were waiting in the RG, informed them about the decision, and they were in jubilant mood. They were killing the RG, and they said they were going to be in compliance.
Well, it's one thing to be in compliance, but you remember during the time of A.B. Krumah and in fact, Gregory Coleman, A.B. Krumah, and the rest of them, there were similar things. They were told to wear these helmets, insured, and so on, and nothing happened. So it's one thing to say yes, we'll do it because the certain things have been relaxed. It's another thing for them to do it.
And so on May 15, the restriction will be enforced, and we'll start from there. But I tell you that it was the recommendation from those that said they were going to resist the restriction.
Okay, so
yeah.
So Cecilia Clark. Now, how do we call you, Colonel Cecilia Clark or Sergeant or what?
DCP Cecilia Clark, Deputy Commissioner of Police. DCP.
Your friend will say, "Baku, you strong."
122.
Many times. I know that my BMW or my BMJ, Cecilia Clark from the police spokesperson speaking there to us. Now let's see if we can get a take from the public. Let's see. In fact, you know what? I think our man Frank Sanwola has been talking about this issue, and let's see whether we can hear from Frank Sanwola regarding the new restrictions or the new amendment by the police and or the new agreement between the police and the people. So Frank, we are back on this. We just spoke to the police spokesperson regarding the new adjustments to the amendment, and the compromise agreement was that, in fact, this was a recommendation from the aggrieved motorcyclists who are threatened to get on the street sometime next week, was that they should be registered, insured, with two helmets, one for the passenger and the other for the rider, reflective jackets, view mirrors, no slippers as they would normally do, and on major routes. What do you make of the new adjustments?
Well, I think it's a merry-go-round. This country has experienced a lot of this kind of reversal of policy or regulation. So for me, it's not strange. Remember, in the former government of President George Weah, the CDC government, there was similar memorandum of understanding signed between the police and the motorcyclists for no-go zone. And I can remember vividly a period leading up to the election, that regulation was enforced as usual in Liberia for just a few weeks. There were many times there were bailout of traffic on the Johnson Street or Gabriel Tucker Bridge, and then everything fizzled out. Remember back in the same Unity Party government of former President Eden Salif, this issue of wearing of helmet, which is a safety measure, studies have shown, road traffic investigative studies have shown that it's very dangerous to ride motorcycle without helmet. And I can remember once upon a time, there were regulations to that effect, and everything fizzled out. Now we see another. I understand it's been postponed. Let's wait and see, but I think it's all part of the problem with Liberia. We implement nothing. We don't implement our own constitution. We don't implement regulations and laws. Even the new Inspector General, Colonel Gregory Coleman, can vividly recall those days when there was a regulation for this tint on vehicles. They attempted and they failed. The new administration followed of the police, Patrick Sudu and others tried. So it's business as usual, appears to be.
So do you think the police didn't do a good job on this one? Did they somersault or what?
No, you see, the issue of public safety and other traffic regulations is important. So maybe the police need to say they didn't carefully think through what they put out in the first place. But basically, around the world, traffic safety is nothing to play with. I was reading a report, even though it was a few years ago, about Liberian roads. We have one of the most risky, dangerous traffic situation with a lot of casualties every year. And among the casualties, motorbikes. Can you imagine enforcing regulation of keke on the major highways and motorbikes in a certain area? We just have to wait and see whether the issue of helmet that we talk about and other safety measures will be put in place.
But Frank, do you think they would do it? Because I mean, they've reneged about at least a couple of times before.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This country is noted for having some of the best policies, but
implementation.
We fail to implement.
Yeah.
That's one of our biggest problems, So I don't know how things will eventually end up, but somebody said, what is the bad things always sustain and the good things never last in terms of system and policies, but I don't know.
Well, thank you, Frank Samuela. We will leave this here. Let's see if we can interact with the public on this issue and give us a call on 0777 627 723. 0777 627 723. Let's talk about the new adjustment to the policy or the rule, the policy between the police and the keke and pempen riders, which will come into effect next Wednesday. Good morning and hello and welcome to the Super Morning Show.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm Edward Sharma again, and I'm calling from Back Settlement, Central Virginia.
Second time lucky, isn't it?
Huh?
It's the second time lucky to be on the same show, isn't it?
Yeah. My brother, the first thing I want to say is that I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed that I really didn't even know that this is ELBC. Hello?
Yes. Why you say that?
Why I said that is that I was just telling my friend that my vote did not lose, because to get ELBC will come up with such a show, and I mean it's not restricting calls and all those kind of things. It tells me we are in a new dispensation.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we'll try our best to make it.
Not that I'm declassifying those who've been there, but I know I've been around for quite a long time, above 50. So I know what I'm saying. A government LBS will open up such a show and people can
and can freely express themselves. We'll all continue on.
Okay, so what's your reaction now to what happened? The agreement between the IG, I mean the police and the pimping riders.
Let me say something. For me, I have a different version
Okay.
of the whole thing. The reason why, my brother, no country in the world can flourish, can develop with all standards. No country. And when you have a government that don't have the political will to make the people go exactly by rules and regulation, that country, I mean, is that country will not develop well. Because when it comes to traffic, like the previous caller said, our roads are dangerous, our traffic is bad. And so it tells you that the rules and regulation the government came up with, for me, I was very, very much happy. The reason I was happy, because they have called it off. And someone was telling me, look, Channel, I think we're not wet. You see it, we're not wet. And you see, you can base law, you can base law, because when you come up with these kind of regulations, people look at you. The next thing the boys going to come away, they'll start telling you, oh, the other person that won't wear the helmet. They say the other person wear his thing. Like that. Look, when you come up with something, you stand by it. There was a time that the Malasari regime came up with something, vetting in the educational sector, because I'm a classroom teacher. I said, when anything work, they did the vetting. Those who were not qualified, they told them to go qualify themselves. They did right sizing and down sizing. People went to where they belong. And it worked. People cried, but it worked. And our educational system left from being a messy system. It came somewhere. So it will not, it will not create standard in this country and go by it. And every time somebody will call, no, you got to leave there, my brother. It's far from true. I just pray for the old man that God will bless him and we'll reach there. I know we're far from there, but we get somebody that will do it one day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shannon. Shannon has been a major contributor this morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the Super Morning Show. Let's take more calls, 0777 627 723, and let's get this caller. Caller, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, good morning. I'm Melvin family calling for Corwell.
Okay, Melvin, tell us how do you react to the new adjustment to the pimping and keke regulation?
Thank you so much. It's a very good show. Thank you very much. But there's a good decision made by the police AG and the entire government, and even revising the first decision by listening to the vice president appeal is necessary. It's important. But my concern now dealing with the regulation and the implementation aspect. Our problem is implementation. When rules are made or laws are made to be implemented or to maintain the implementation is very difficult. And another fear is the police. The police that will be in the street to make sure the regulation go on somebody, they are very, 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 very chaotic. They won't go, you will see somebody with the rifle or implementation or carrying on the exercise of implementing the rules. Still, they want to go by and do their own thing. So I think the SG have to stand on its feet and make sure and place people on the street that will be able to monitor the system, which it will make the both parties to be able to be pleased with the process of exercising the rules.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Let's take this other call. Good morning. Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thomas Chung calling you from Gardnersville.
Okay.
Community.
Sure, let's hear you.
All right. Thank you so much. I call you to applaud the IG of the police, but I have a recommendation here.
Sure, go ahead.
Until the Liberian change, Liberia cannot change. And it should start with the security sector. For all the implementation to take place, I pray and I begging him so much that he should be able to shuffle some of the police that is on the road. I will recommend him come somewhere around the Bannerville Junction. The police that are somewhere around that junction there, they are somehow embarrassing in some way. They don't take things serious. policemen, instead of directing traffic, you run behind cars and run behind keke rather than begging them for money. So they will not respect you. So please, I'm talking to him to be able to work on his police before the implementation of the rule that he's trying to undertake. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, and what's your name? Where you're calling from?
Okay, this is Mr. Bien from Ananfield. Yeah, I would like to commend the IG and also say a big thank you to the motorcyclists. Dialogue is very, very important, and also I want to say thank you to His Excellency Jeremiah Kuhn for his intervention in bringing the parties together and dialoguing with them and where they have found a common ground. So now that they have reached a common ground, I want to appeal to the motorcyclists to be law-abiding. We want our country, Liberia, to be like other countries where we have respect for rules and order. Because we are crying that we want investors to come into the country to be able to help us so that they're the same motorcyclists. Some of them will be able to live that riding a motorcycle and have employment. So we cannot have the central part of our country just being reckless. So they should know that, and they should be able to abide by the memorandum that they all have signed to make sure that those things that the police and they themselves, as I heard from you, from the spokesperson, that they themselves was the one who put all the recommendations. They should be able to abide by them so that our country can be a very safe place and a civilized country again.
Now, but let me ask you: do you normally ride bike or keke?
Say that again.
Do you normally ride the bike or the keke? Which one do you ride?
Most of the time, because of my health condition, most of the time I ride the bike, and sometimes keke also. But what I usually do, I usually make sure that I have my own personal helmet use for my own safety. So what the police is saying is for their own good. It's for their own safety, because we see some of the recklessness that go on in the country, and how most of the time they are harmed, and also we the rider, we are also harmed. So everything that the police is saying is not the wish on. It's for our own good and for their good.
So let me pose a question to many of you who are calling and riding bike. It's not the duty of the police alone to implement these, because you are the rider, and the police has put in place all of these measures. In fact, from themselves, from the bike rider themselves, they have proposed these, and the police say, okay, fine, you said this, and we implement that. Now, I think we all, those of you who ride motorbike or keke, should also help to implement these plans. No helmet, no, you don't ride them. No insurance, you don't ride them. Are you going to be one of those who will put your feet down, say, show me your papers or show me your helmet before I ride?
Sure. That I'm one of those who is actually I want a good society in Liberia. I've lived in Ghana for so many years. So in Ghana, those restrictions are carried out fully. So I'm going to be one of those that will be championing to make sure that these motorcyclists and that of the keke follow the rules. So like you rightly said, I will make sure that they should be able to have those things before I can even be a passenger on the motorcycle or even the keke.
Thank you so much for calling us. Let's take another caller. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity given to this is Samuel Dikeko and I just brother. This is
okay.
Let me say good morning to the President Joe, and President Jeremiah Kwankum. Let me appreciate you so much for this topic. I think from every respect, we have to say this to the police and the motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
If you want to have a successful society, you should go by rule and regulation. With that said, I'm highly disappointed in my own part, President. The reason here is that if the police and the motorcycle has sit and have discussion and kind of understanding that all the things they are discussing now is we never need the influence or the interference or the saying that who are working with the will and pleasure of the president. So with that, nobody should go outside of the law or maybe
want to do anything to undermine the decision. So,
I think it was a compromise deal, and then the fact that if you listen to the police spokesperson, this was a compromise deal, and in fact, some of the safety measures that that came up to register, to insure, having helmet, these came from the motor riders themselves.
I mean, we hear people saying the motor, everybody had a right to move anywhere or to do business anywhere. So I'm asking a question: can we allow the Kasali seller or the Bidabo seller to go send a motor and go sell because everybody had a right on the coast and move anywhere? No, we need to have a decent society. Monrovia is the capital city of Liberia. It's not a commercial city. So if we take the Monrovia measure from Broadway to Freeport, you can run and make your money. It's sufficient. You don't have to go send a moral into high international get that maybe get from America, Italy, and all of places they have come for or they have discovered capital building had a campo. Had a cover on Bessie Street. You have moral all among them. It's not correct. We need to have decent society. We need to have people who have been given a power to exercise position rather than we have a president or a vice president or even a speaker want to interfere. It's my issue. We not need a vice president interfering in the process.
Okay, sir.
The motorcyclists and the police. That's my argument.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning, Hassan.
Yeah, good morning. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Lorenzo Prince Boakai calling from ELBC.
Okay, let's hear you.
Let me say thanks to you for the show. But it's important in this country, Hassan, that when we set laws, we should not have compromises to these laws. It is very important for us. We in other countries, when they say this place is a no-go zone, it's a no-go zone. So should we allow the trucks to plow the streets at a certain time of the day when they are not supposed to? Why if the truck driver says, okay, from today, we ourselves will protest, and because of that, we want to be all on Broad Street, and we all want to be in Central Monrovia.
Well, we hope not.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. So if the motorcyclists, and some of them would say we agree that we're not plow Central Monrovia because this place has been considered a no-go zone, and another group of people will say, okay, we will. If you don't do it, we will protest, and because of that, we have compromise, and then the vice president is interfering. We voted for this government. We love this government. We trusted this government, or we trusted the leadership for which we voted this government. And it will start to have compromises at the early stage. That so many compromises we have. It is important that when we set these laws, let us go by it. It will help this country. Look, if we stop the motorcycle, even if they protest for a day, like bro, we're not born. This country will not spoil.
Are you a motorbike rider?
No, I'm not a motorbike rider.
No, what I mean, are you a passenger? Do you normally ride motorbike to commute?
Yes, I do. So let's take for instance, you set these laws. You say, okay, the people who apply in Central Monrovia, they should have 2 helmets. What's about the man who is flying the streets of ELBC? What's about the man who is going from ELBC Junction to Red Light? Is he going to have the same 2 helmets? Or are you only concerned about the men flying Central Monrovia? So the law is not holistic. It's not just. It's not a just law.
So you want
the law is in there to be implemented in Central Monrovia.
Okay, thank you.
You're telling the man who is riding in Central Monrovia, you should have 2 helmets, you should have safety boots, you should have jacket. So what's about the man who is running on the Rafi Highway? What's about the man who is running from ELBC Junction to Red Light? Is he going to have the same 2 helmets, the safety jacket, and the safety boots? Is he going to have them?
Well, many times I think the authorities are listening. Let's take in more calls.
I listened to the report yesterday from the IG and then from the spokesperson this morning. I didn't hear anything they said about the people who are going to be plying the streets of Pittsburgh as well.
Okay,
so they're not going to be having 2 helmets.
So let's take other calls. I think those who are listening to authorities are listening to you. I'm sure they will take note of that. And hello, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chief. Let me say good morning to the many listeners for the broadcast. My name is Kiawu. We have and I joined this conversation and this today. Let me appreciate you so much for the discussion. You see, the issue about the motorcyclists and the police regulations that were coming out regarding the no-go zone. For also let me use a medium to appreciate the party chairman of the Unity Party, Reverend Dr. J. Luther Tappen. For some of us, as head of the motorcyclists, we believe in a diplomatic engagement. This is what we were telling some of our colleagues who were being used by politicians to politicize motorcycle sector or these regulations to say they were wanted to protest or go on a rampage with the police. You cannot fight government. So what you need to do is to persuade your government to have a dialogue with them, engage in the diplomatic way so that they can concur with you or they can adhere to your cry. And this is the medium some of what we use. And thank God that the government wrote the vice president asking him to do an intervention into this issue. And yesterday, the vice president started the meeting between we and the Liberia National Police as head of the cyclists, and the vice president said that the traffic regulations should make sure to be enforced and let them forget about the no-go zone, so that before you can get on a no-go zone, apply to those very restricted places, you can have your safety boots, your helmet, your safety jacket, your reflective jacket. You register your bike with V-mirror, everything. That is the traffic regulation, so you can adhere to it before you can fly there. But if you do not have a helmet yet and you don't have the means of registering your bike, you can run into the community. You are not forced to ride on a main or boulevard road or free-for road.
But let me ask you.
We want to say thank you to the vice president, and we call all motorcyclists to adhere measures. Let us keep Liberia peaceful and adhere to the police. Thank you very much.
So don't go yet. I have some questions for you. Now, you are one of the leaders of the motorbike union. Is that correct?
No, I'm part of the union also, and I'm the National Secretary General for the Unity Party National Motorcyclists Confederacy.
Okay, so well, you must have some connection with them. Now, oftentimes when these regulations come up, the motorcyclists do not abide by them. Some of them are very rude. They bang your cars and they run away. But when and sometimes when it's severe and they can't run away, then they will say, I'm your son and that sort of thing. But when you mistakenly hit them because of their recklessness, then they tend to jump on you. Are you sitting down with these guys and telling them to refine their brains and their, I mean, for the lack of a better word, to rethink their attitudes?
Well, we are doing that, and even the police yesterday into the meeting when the vice president said that the police assured the vice president and us that they are going to provide training for our security, the union security. They will train the union security so that the union themselves can be able to enforce these laws that yesterday were put down, the traffic or regulations, that the union will enforce it to maybe at the back to enforce if just in case in terms of any or hostility be put up by any cyclist, the police will come in, but it will be the union that will enforce it. So yesterday when we left from the vice president office, we also gathered some cyclists at SKD, the police RG, and us. We went there and we made some public awareness with them. And we're in a jubilant move, and when you watch the video, they were very excited. They said we will adhere to everything. We will obey the law to make sure to keep this country peaceful. We will not mount any politician to incite or against the government to protest or whatsoever thing. So they are here to aid, and they will be cooperative. It will not just be yesterday, the ending. We are continuously, we will continue to have a dialogue with them and to sensitize them to know, to tell them how to abide by the rules of the land.
You did all of that, but are you guys going to refine your attitude now in the traffic, being very respectful, or not being reckless, and in the way you drive it, you turn anywhere you want to turn, and you block traffic unnecessarily?
Regards to the reform of the cycling sector, let's be clear with this. The cycling sector, it is not, hooligan sector that everybody there that, misbehave. Despite in every society, we know that in every society in this country have good and bad apple. And the cycling sector is no exception to that. Among us, we have some bad apples. And why it is true that in majority we have a good apple, but in minority there will be bad apple and no bad apple.
But sir, I beg to differ with you on that. You have more, you have more bad apples than good apples, and in fact, there's a saying. Yeah, I know you won't. Yeah. I mean, if you say you agree with me, then I'll be very surprised. But there's a saying that if you see a well-behaved child in a community that joins to ride motorbike, he will turn to be an ugly child. Do you? I know you won't accept that, but that's a fact.
Come again? You are breaking in.
Yeah, well, there's a general saying in Liberia that even you will see a young man with potential in a community well refined, more highly respected. As soon as he sits on top of that motorbike, he becomes one of the rude, the most reckless, the most a violent person. And that happens among. I don't have the stats, but more than 85% of your motorbike riders are just rude, rowdy, and very misbehaved, insult people's mother.
And I disagree with that because.
Of course, you would disagree. I don't expect you to agree.
And I was speaking to you. I am on traffic actively. I am a motorcyclist too. I'm on traffic. But that's part of my interaction with you. You will know that my language is refined.
Oh, of course, yeah. For you, I agree. Look. I used to own about 10 kekes, about 15 motorbikes. I know what I've gone through in my community. I know what I've gone through.
That is a public perception.
No. Three of my motorbikes were sold, and the guy lied that they stole it and so on. And the next day I saw him on the same motorbike. And so all of that. But anyway, and thank you so much. Go ahead.
Things like doing will happen in every society, as I said. That there will be criminals, there will be bad apples. So that was just one of the bad apples. One of the.
What about snatching of people's? What about snatching of people's wallets? What about snatching of people's wallets while they're driving by on the sidewalk, snatching wallet? I think the best thing is to go back. Is not to deny what the public is saying about you. Is to re-examine yourself and go back and say.
That is the public perceptions about the cyclists. Do you know that IFAD even says that cyclists are not educated people? IFAD they don't like school.
Majority, no. Majority of cyclists don't like school. I agree with that. I'm not saying all of that. I say majority don't like school.
I would not agree because cyclists love education. Majority of the cyclists are high school graduates. And why some of
No. Sir, I disagree. Majority.
You are not in the sector. You are not in the sector. We are in the sector. We have done our survey.
I own motorbikes. I own kekes.
Majority of them are out of high school.
So I own motorbikes, I own kekes, and I have family members who own kekes. I told you I have 15 kekes and about 10 kekes and about 15 motorbikes.
That is just 1% of the.
Yeah, but I deal with you guys on a daily basis, and I drive behind my own keke rider, and sometimes I take my key from them in the traffic because the way they misbehave. But anyway. Many thanks for joining, and I like the interaction. You may be one in 1,000 that is not that way, but majority of them I do. Many thanks there too. Let's take this caller. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me on the platform this morning.
Yes, sir.
My name is George Toma from my Bagno community.
Okay, George. Tell us what's your experiences with the motorbike riders, and what do you make of the new adjustments?
Yeah, let me appreciate the government for coming in with the kind of senior measure that will bring a little restriction to many of our Liberians who have vehicles in terms of riding in the street. But my major concern has to do with the police. The police measure, safety measure is not bad, but there are errors. The first thing, if you tell a motorbike rider that you will not fly in the street, especially there are no-go zone error, the meeting, be telling them how many passengers you will be taking. One, if that's the case, let us answer the question. Let the police answer the question. Is it possible that every motorbike rider that in the street get helmet? One, if they have helmet, do they have 2 or 3 helmet? Because motorbike rider always observe them taking more than 2 or 3 passengers. Will they be able to supply all the passenger on the bike with helmet? That's a question.
Then the next thing is that if you telling the motorbike riders don't go so, meaning that even you as a police officer, you have your child in the street who does not have helmet, will not pass that rule. But you always find out that police have interest. They say interest. Everybody get interest. You will sit down there, their child or their relative or their neighbor will fail. Then they use the phone to call them. Then you hear them talking to another officer who want to arrest or maybe restrict that particular aspect. And then telling them, say, I am 104, 100 this, and one other. Release that immediately. At the end of the day, the law cannot work like that.
Yeah.
I have serious problem on that.
No, I mean, it's true. It's true.
That's my concern again. What happened with them or truck rider? They trail on, they continue. They are still flying in the street when public is still moving, when the people are still up and down, then those trailer, those truck rider, those continue, they are moving with it in the street. Are we waiting for problem to come up or truck to fall down somewhere? Because we still experience people moving in the street. There must be a measure like 7 o'clock is 10 o'clock in the night. They say 7 p.m. you should start moving.
Okay, so hello, sir. Okay, I mean our discussion is actually, I know it's a good suggestion about the trailers should be plying the streets or a certain time of the evening and not the morning. But actually we are restricting our conversation this morning to keke and motor and keke and bicycle. But then also the police has just clarified that it's only one rider and not or one passenger they're talking about. Let's take another caller. Caller, give us your name and where you calling from.
So how are you, my brother?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Okay. This is the Deputy Managing Director for Operation of the National Transit Authority, Noah Zawu Kipsi.
I've been calling you since an hour ago.
Say that again.
I've been calling you more than an hour ago. Luckily, you came on my line.
I didn't get you. You were breaking.
I've been calling you for the past 1 hour to get you on the line, but luckily you are online.
Okay. Hassan, I called purposely to say to our people, the citizens of this republic, most especially those that trusted us, that elected us and got us where we are today, that we are not insensitive to their comments or what they are raising. But at times, when you're out of government, you do not see what is coming. Between you and me, the police director meant what he said. The police authority meant what they said. In fact, the intervention of the vice president should not be misconstrued that he tried to weaken the law or try to dilute the law. This is what people don't understand. We are just from an election where up to now, the president is trying to commission some committee to begin the process of reconciliation. And you know, as it stands, as yet, the election results, people are still bitter, more especially some of our brothers who did not win are still bitter.
So let's go ahead.
They want to capitalize. They are looking for opportunity to capitalize in a situation to make the government look bad, to appear like the government is insensitive to respecting the rights of human beings. If you really look at what happened, the government did not in any way renege on its decision. In fact, it was a clever attempt by the government to enforce the law. How? You know our motorcyclists. You were just online just now with one of them, and I enjoyed the conversation. Hassan, for God's having sake, most of them are not law-abiding. How many of them will abide or will want to afford to go insure their bike, to register the bike and insure it? Of course not. Many of them will not do. So obviously, if you don't, you will not enter Monrovia. So when we are only few among 100%, I will tell you only 5 to 10% we are bound by that regulation. So if you look at it indirectly, it still stays. It still stays. Because mind you, if this had not been done, if that regulation were not going to, or the government had not come out with such plan, that protest, some of them were capitalizing to contaminate the minds of those children against the government. And then at the end, the same media and the same citizens, some of them will be saying, oh, but it's too soon, why they couldn't wait? Look at what happened. Look at how they brutalized the children. Look at what the police did. It's too soon. So right now, the government has other issues to focus on. If the government were weak in terms of enforcing the rule of law, we will not fast track the issue of the war and economic resolution, which is one of the major milestones for the government in terms of following the rule of law.
So let's come back to the motorcycle issue, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm listening.
Yeah, I said no, let's come back to the motorcycle issue because you are stretching your hands too far.
No, I'm just saying, and now I'm stretching my hands too far. But people are seeing this as the government weakness in terms of relaxing the enforcement of the rule of law. So we are saying here, no. I'm just citing one instance where the government that people perceive to be weak in terms of enforcing the rule of law a weak government cannot do what I just gave an example of. That was my point.
But I think their point was that whatever was done between the police and the pimping riders, I think should have remained between them and not the office of the vice president coming in. I mean, with all good intention, his coming in meant very well, and of course, it aborted whatever protest they would have had. But people misconstrued it to be that some hands were twisted.
So this is what I want people to understand. The vice president should not be perceived that he tried to interfere with the police authority decision. What he tried to do was he tried to intervene.
Yeah, so to avoid any problems. Yeah,
he did not impose. It was just something like a recommendation through intervention. And mind you, I can tell you, Hassan, if May 15 had come, those guys would have capitalized on this situation, incite those children against the government. You know that children who go to school use motorbike. All around here, the second that day probably would have come to a standstill. Then at the end, the very citizens today, some of them will be saying, oh, but wait, they couldn't wait. Why they take this? Why they take that? So what I'm trying to say, if you really look at the agreement, the enforcement still stays. Because if you don't abide by those regulations, you will not go to those areas. You won't go there. And I can tell you, let me give you this information. I'm informed reliably that as of May 15th, the enforcement starts and the police director 102 will be right to ELBC junction. You don't abide by regulation, you will not go. So if you cannot get the safety gear, if you cannot purchase the issue of the helmet, if you cannot insure the motorbike, if your headlight are not working properly, your view mirror are not there, you will not go. How many of them waiting to do that? How many of them, just as you are telling the other motorcycle, most of them don't want to abide by the rules. So they set their own trap without them knowing. So I don't see why our citizens should be angry. We appeal to them. This is just a matter of being tolerant. The government tries to show some level of tolerance, but it doesn't indicate that the government is weak.
Okay, many times there, I'm afraid we have to leave it right there. Many times they're speaking to us there on the Super Morning Show. Let's take another bar of music so that we'll switch gears to the other topic. You are listening to the Super Morning Show on ELBC Radio, and of course, I'm Hassan Kiawu here.
From today, oh, we take it from you tomorrow. Take it from Mary today, oh, man, we take it from you tomorrow. Anything I tell you, you better you leave it. I was appointed by nature. Boakai, my guy. But if you don't listen to me, that's your parliament party. Woman don't pray for long hair, she can pray for tumba. As long as she is living, the hair will grow in our saloon. Men don't pray to be handsome, he can pray for money. As long as he got money, the good will rule. Look at anyone know. Sweet, sweet living is sweet, oh. Wherever you go. Sweet, sweet living is sweet, oh. Wherever you go. When I pray for long sorrow, you can pray for long life. As long as you live, oh, the better will grow. Anything I tell you, you better believe it. I was appointed by nature, oh, to get it, you got it. If you don't listen to me, oh, now your parliament got it. Now your parliament got it. I'm a better level when I'm awake. Fine, fine, power is fine. It can make you heavy. Fine, fine, power is fine. It can make you heavy. Or looking like a cook, you know, it quick to capsize. You know, when you get power, they get rising under their arm. Or their arm will start high. Sweet, sweet, kiss our liver. No for go along. Human being, I eat it.
This combat is so interesting. Is a learning curve because take care of people, take care of the souls of the
After number one person, no, it's a matter of time. After is a lesson, no, right that is ahead. After is a lesson, no, right that is ahead. You take it from Peter today, oh, Paul will take it from you tomorrow. You take it from Ada today, oh, Mary will take it from you tomorrow. Where is your phone?
Yeah, sweet, sweet Kesawali is not for good alone, it's for human being. In fact, it's for Grand Cape Man County, it's for Nimba County as well. Well, we could now go to our last topic. Of course, you as you may have heard in the news, judges from all over Africa, in fact, some from the US, were in Liberia for the annual Trial Judges Lawyers Association meeting here in Liberia. There was about a four-day conference. It brought together chief justices from Ghana, Sierra Leone, and other countries. There were people from Italy, and in fact, my own man that I admire, Professor Councillor Patrice Lumumba from Kenya. Well, on the line, we have Fabienne Kuya, the lady who covers the judiciary for us. She's now on the line. Fabienne, good morning to you and a warm welcome to the program.
Good morning, Hassan, and good morning to our many listeners.
Now, Fabienne, set the stage for us about this conference which ended yesterday. Tell me, why was it important in the first place?
Well, the conference was important in the first place because it brought together legal luminaries from across the continent of Africa and elsewhere. And so they were at the ministerial complex discussing issues as it relates to the legal matters, especially the judiciary. And that was a 4-day conference. And at the beginning of the conference, the Chief Justice spoke, and the Vice President represented the President of the Republic of Liberia, Joseph Boakai, who spoke on several issues. And then he actually talked about the task of the responsibility of dispensing justice. That means his speech was clearly square around the judges, the Vice President who proxy for the President. Because Hassan, the overall theme of the judiciary of this conference was that the judiciary in contemporary times dispensing justice in the new information age. So with the judiciary and media, both of them had a link, and most of the speakers was centered around the exact topic that I given them.
Now, there were a lot of, like you said, legal luminaries, if I should use your exact term, attending from many countries. What were some of the high points of the conference?
Well, basically, they talked about the judiciary and laws. And so, as I said earlier, they came from various countries. And I remember when the Chief Justice spoke at the opening, because she was a keynote speaker, she did mention about justice in the new information age, especially on the social media and how people carry stories, and it shouldn't be sensationalized. But again, when the Chief Justice spoke, she didn't just limit it to the outside world or direct speech. She referenced Liberia in a sense that we have media practitioners here that sometimes if they go out and write stories, they don't authenticate the sources and they just go about. And so she mentioned about the online. Within her speech, Hassan, she had several examples that she said that the stories were being carried by the media and they did not authenticate information, neither did they have a glimpse of the opinions emanating either from the higher court or the lower court, and they went about writing their own thing only because they wanted readers to get glued to the subject matter that they posted. And the recent case, remember the American missionary Lucas Riches and a Liberian female, she did mention about the judge that came down with his opinion and people had different views about it. And so she even mentioned the Crystal story about Front Page Africa and so forth and so on. And so, but then she actually said in the modern age, information in the modern age has been tackled, and everybody, especially the youth, they are all glued up to the internet, and she named like Facebook, the Twitter, and Instagram. And so the Chief Justice all in all said, we in Liberia, if we are talking about judicial issues, we should first of all authenticate our sources before posting or writing and giving the necessary information out. And so after the Chief Justice, as I said earlier, the Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn, who proxy for President Joseph Boakai, he said the judges are tasked with the responsibility of dispensing justice, and they should also strive to ensure justice is administered fairly, because he said it's enshrined under the arrest agenda. The government will continue to support the Liberian judiciary to safeguard to the adherence of rule of law. And so that was the one of the section, but the two of the section was closed to the public. And so we weren't given access. But the three, a lot of people trooped in at the ministerial complex to hear other speakers, but most of all, they were interested in Professor Pierre Luluma. And so he had a large crowd that came to listen, and he talked on several issues. at the conference there. He didn't really do away with the judiciary because it was centered around the judiciary, and he said a lot of things. There were key points that he spoke on. There are so many, and maybe I could just
yes. In fact, maybe coming to Professor Lumumba, I understand he talked about perceptions.
Said the judiciary in Africa. Integrity and capacity must be included in what they do, because without integrity and independent judicial independence, a lot of people won't have trust in the system. And so that was also welcomed by many because it's embedded in our law. As I said, he spoke on several issues. There are many.
And then, in fact, he's talking about judicial independence, and part of what the Chief Justice spoke about and you talked about, of course, that goes exactly in line with that. But let me just piggyback on at the Chief Justice statement that, some of the judges, they write these things and they don't counter check, they don't do that, they don't do research to make sure that the facts are there. Doesn't that point to the fact that many of those are lazy and they are not good researchers and probably they need to read more?
Sure, exactly, Hassan, you are correct. And based on the Chief Justice's statement, I remember during the conference when there was this session about the Frank Sewula presentation, the very first person that asked question was during the question and answer section was Associate Justice James Etta Howard Wolokoli. And she pointed out to the media that she gave an example saying there was a time that she sat listening at one of the local radio stations. She did not call that station name, and said they were opining on some opinion that emanated from the Supreme Court. And then one caller called and asked as to whether the person read the opinion, and the person said, the journalist said no, even though I did not see the opinion, I did not read it, but in my mind. And she said that was some of the problems they had with people writing about the judiciary, people that don't understand the judiciary, like journalists that will come on the radio and say things that they don't understand, instead of coming to ask about what the case is about or what was the opinion, whether it came from the Supreme Court or the lower court. They won't do that, but rather they go on the radio and just explain what they think they're supposed to say. And then she frowned on that. But all in all, I'm sure journalists that covered, that were present, and those that were watching or listening will take cue from that, because especially the new information age, it boils down to everything. As you may be aware, the internet is where we have everybody going searching for information. And now in this age, not everything you see posted on the internet is true. And so as a journalist or media practitioner, once you find information lingering on the internet, you have to authenticate your sources.
Yes, indeed. I mean, unlike you, Winnie Sewa Jimmy for the Inquirer and a few other people, I think you normally do a very good job. But I think also many of those who are going there, I think we should learn from we should learn from maybe Clarence Jackson of OKFM. Clarence, does his research very well. Even when legal matters, and he gets in touch with the legal people, and he doesn't just speak off the cuff. So maybe many of us should be doing that. And if an institution is sending people to the judiciary to cover them, they should be schooled well or be made to understand that, in fact, they are going to a different terrain. Since, in fact, journalists in Liberia are all generalists and not specialists.
Sure, you are correct. And Hassan, and another point I also want to stress was that the issue about citizen journalism caught the attention of many because, take for example, when something happens, you just find a group of people that will stand with their phone and start to go live and start streaming live. And so once that is being done, people don't authenticate that, and once they see it on the internet, because they went live, they believe that. So the issue of citizen journalism is something people are taking into consideration in this new information age to see how they can curtail that. And I will give you an example on this show. When we had this training and we went to Egypt, Cairo, for some months, that was very key. It was vital to the training that we went on. And so raising the concern about citizen journalism, this is something people trying to stop, especially from the internet, because as I said earlier, not everything you see posted on the internet is true. And so we need to authenticate information before we filter it out to the public.
Fabian Quia, many thanks there to you, and of course, thanks for setting the pace for us. That's Fabian Quia, our judicial reporter there speaking to us from the Temple of Justice. Of course, Fabian is always on top of things there. Let's see if we can talk to Frank Sanwola. Frank presented a paper at the conference, and Frank Sanwola has been contributing. He's our lone guest on the show. He's way in Ganta conducting a training. And we have now Frank Sanwola on the line. Well, Frank, we are now on the judicial, the last leg of our topic before we go.
Let me go to
Yeah, we are on the last leg of our topic, and of course, let's see if Frank Sanwola is getting to a much quieter place so that we can talk on the issue of the judicial conference that was held just that ended yesterday in Liberia. In fact, Frank was one of the persons who presented a paper at the conference. Well, friends, are you ready to speak to us now?
Yeah, I think we can talk. Just give me a few seconds.
Okay. Wait. Actually, while the second is rolling, you are on live so that we don't lose you.
Okay, I think it's okay now.
Okay. So I was just talking to Fabien, and Fabien was filling us in with the information from the 4-day judicial conference that was held here, and you presented a paper. Let's start from you first of all. You presented a paper. What was that paper about?
Well, I was asked to present on the role of the media in enhancing judicial independence.
Okay, and what did you say?
And what I was saying in short is that given the roles of the judiciary, first to guarantee freedom and human rights and protect the rule of law, journalists have similar role. In fact, and to be fair, fairness is very important for the judiciary, for judges. And journalists do, you know that as well as I, that fairness is one of our principles or ethics. And journalists are considered as the fourth estate, the de facto fourth branch of government. And our role is to ensure that democracy, good governance, transparency, and accountability is protected. So I was making a point that in order to ensure judicial independence and press independence or journalism independence, there's a need for the journalists and the jurists to understand that we are in the same boat together, and that in order to preserve our independence, we must ensure that the right things are done. We must ensure that we have a regulatory regime to penalize professional jurists or journalists who violate, like in the legal profession, they talk about the canon, judicial canon, and journalists should uphold professional ethics because there's a threat, there's a growing internationally agreed threat against democracy and threat against judicial and journalist independence.
Yeah, but Frank, I understand James Wolokoli even asked you a few questions, and even alluded to the fact that because journalists do publish things sometimes blackmail or don't follow the ethics, and so she stopped listening to us a special radio station.
Well, as I said in my response to the Associate Justice question or comment, there are problems in all professional sectors, and the judiciary has been bold enough to come up to admit that there are problems in the court system. That is the reason why you have the Judicial Inquiry Committee, which has been doing a pretty good job over the past few years. They've been investigating judicial officers on allegations of violation of the judicial principles, standards, canons, and ethics. And you have similar thing going on in the media, and I agree with her that there are a lot of work to be done. We need to do a lot of work to weed out the rotten apples. Rotten apples are in the media, and what she rightly said, people go to cover court cases sometimes or legal matters without even doing research and understanding the nature of the case and understanding some of our basic legal statute, what the law says, understanding what the Constitution says. I give an example of myself. When I was at Star Radio, I covered the treason trial involving some few former officials, and I had to do a lot of work. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to law school, but I had to do a lot of work. I had to stick to the the motions and the arguments in court, and I had to keep in touch with the clerk of court to keep abreast of what is on the or in the case file.
Yeah, but Frank, that's you. But what about other people who just want to cover the judiciary or cover other areas? Shouldn't we, as journalists or media houses, have sessions or send people who are more cognizant, more thoughtful, or more qualified that could do more research to actually send them to the court or specialized areas? After all, you could get into trouble.
That is very important, and it's also important to ensure that people you put in the legal system, in the courts, ranging from various levels, are actually competent. Because, as I said, the overall threat is threat to democracy and threat to the rule of law. As you may know by now, the world faces a serious threat from states and powerful people wanting to do their own thing, don't want to respect the rule of law and the international system.
Yes, so indeed, it's a problem for us. What do you think we can do as journalists or media houses so that we don't fall into trouble? Because it's one thing, you can fall into trouble with other branches of government or other professions, but you have a problem with the legal profession, you are in a big trouble.
Sure, that's the critical thing about it. But on the overall, I think more reading, more studies, more research, more responsibility. As I quoted Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution, that gives the media, the press, and the public free speech and the press. We should be responsible. At the same time, we should try to understand the issues for ourselves, make sense of what's happening. In the case of the court, is a specialized kind of reporting. If you want to do a good job, you must be able to understand what the case is, talk to experts, talk to the lawyers, ask the clerk as often as you can for clarification. Make copies of some important documents in the court. We did that when we were covering the trial, and that's the best way to go.
Okay, Frank Sanwola. Anywhere he goes, he's providing training, even on the radio. Frank Sanwola, he's the managing editor of the Public Trust news outfit online. And we've been talking to Frank Sanwola on a variety of topics. We talked about the president's visit and some of the things the president is pushing for Liberia. We also talked about the motorcyclist issue. And then finally, we talked about the just ended trial judges conference, which concluded yesterday in Liberia. You've been listening to the Super Morning Show with me, Hassan Kiawu. Join me on Monday morning with a brand new spanking edition, and Vafle Kamara will be here. But next Friday also, I will be here, God willing. See you soon. Hassan Kiawu, my name, and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.